Welcome to the Blue Healer 100 videos, and I was wanting to touch on a subject that I received this morning, and it's from Michael Snyder. 10 ways that Donald Trump could try to reverse the curse that Obama has put on America. And the curse he's talking about is the going against Israel and the biblical curses. And it's a very common thing within the religious community that if you go against Israel, that you will be cursed as a nation and as a people. And let me get into the article. It says, when Barack Obama betrayed Israel at the United Nations, and it's happened this past week, that put a curse on our nation. But that doesn't mean that we have to stay cursed. In our coming days, the new Trump administration should immediately take steps toward the reversing of the curse that we are under as a result of what Obama has done. Perhaps if Donald Trump takes strong enough steps to try to undo what Obama has done instead of being cursed, we can once again return to being a blessed nation. One thing that Trump will not be able to undo is the UN Security Council Resolution 2334. It would take another UN Council resolution to undo it, and the votes simply wouldn't be there right now. UN Security Council Resolution 2334 passed by a vote of 14-0, with the U.S. abstaining. And even if Trump could miraculously pull together enough votes, one of the other permanent members of the Security Council, Russia, China, the UK, France, could just veto it. And, they can go against anything that's put before them. So it looks like we are stuck with the UN Security Resolution 2334, but that doesn't mean that Trump can't do anything to try to address this matter. Recently, a Breitbart article suggested 5 steps that Trump should take in regarding Israel once he becomes president, and I would like to add another to the list. The following are 10 things that should immediately be done by Trump as soon as he becomes president to try to reverse the curse that Obama has put on America. The first thing, Donald Trump should clearly disavow UN Security Council Resolution 2334 during his inauguration address. This would send a clear signal to the rest of the world that this new administration does not stand behind Obama's betrayal of Israel. The second thing would be sanctions should be imposed on every nation that voted in favor of this resolution. I know that this would be politically tricky and would greatly upset the other permanent members of the Security Council, but it should be done, irregardless. The third thing, there should be a congressional declaration clearly disavowing UN Security Council Resolution 2334, and Donald Trump should endorse this declaration. The fourth thing, Trump administration should immediately introduce another UN Security Council resolution that would include language that completely overturns the previous resolution. Of course, that resolution would almost certainly fail, but the point would be to show that Trump administration is horrified by what has been done, and it should force the rest of the Security Council into a very uncomfortable position. Fifth thing, Trump should immediately move the U.S. embassies to Jerusalem. By law, this was already supposed to have happened anyway. This is already supposed to have been done. But past presidents have always put the move off. Of course, this would cause the Palestinians to riot, but Trump needs to show the world that U.S. policy is not going to be dictated by threats of violence. Sixth thing, Trump should cut off all funding to Palestinian Authority. Considering how much debt we are in, I don't know why we are giving money in the first place. Why are we giving them money when we're in such debt? They're not doing anything for the United States. Cut them off. Cut them all off. Number 7, Trump should publicly announce that his administration will never recognize a Palestinian state. The rest of the world would get very upset with this, but it's the right thing to do. And we go to the 8th number. Trump should publicly announce that it is his policy of the United States government that every inch of East Jerusalem, the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and the Golan Heights belong to Israel. I don't think that Trump would ever do this, but it would be a single most important step that he could ever take, beginning as a president. Number 9, the United Nations should be defunded in whole or in part. I say in whole. The United Nations is a joke. The United Nations started out as the League of Nations many years ago and failed, totally collapsed, and they began the UN. I mean, they're just going to start something else, but we don't want to leave the United Nations entirely as some are suggesting. Now that Trump is going to be president, we want him to use the power that we have on the Security Council to protect Israel. Because without the U.S. standing in the way, the rest of the world would gang up on Israel in a major way, and that's true. They would. They've been trying to take that territory forever. Number 10, Trump should make an immediate presidential visit to Israel during his first week of his presidency. This would largely be symbolic, but it would show the rest of the planet that we stand solidly and with Netanyahu and his government and Israel. And if Barack Obama takes additional actions against Israel during his remaining days as president, steps such as I've just outlined above will become more important. There are still rumblings that we could see another UN Security Council resolution that would officially establish a Palestinian state before Obama leaves office. And then there was an article that came out also right after this, and it come from Bob Eshelman. The official said the UN action could come in the form of a declaration by UN bodies, including the General Assembly, UN sessions on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, or even another United Nations Security Council resolution. He said any further UNSC resolution would depend on the support of the U.S. and European countries after the upcoming Paris Mideast Summit that's slated for January 15th. And that's one that Trump's been invited to. And you know, I'm very uneasy about him going over there on January 15th, 5 days before he's sworn into office. I don't know. I got a bad feeling about that. Also, he said the UN action would seek to set the perimeters of a future Palestinian state with a clear timeline for negotiations. If the action comes in the form of a resolution at the UN body, it could call for an infrastructure to establish mechanisms to enforce last week's UNSC resolution, which demanded a complete halt to Israel construction in the West Bank and eastern Jerusalem and declared those territories occupied Palestinian lands. If the UN Security Council does vote to formally recognize a Palestinian state, all hell will break loose in America. And anyone who follows Scripture, and that's probably 65% of this nation, they know if you turn against Israel, you will be condemned. So let's hope that does not happen. Let us hope that Donald Trump works very hard to repair the damage that's already been done once he gets into office. You know, Obama's done everything he could to destroy this nation. He's done a fine job of it. And I don't know how in God's name he got in for a second term. I'll never know. You know, what kind of morons would have voted him in 2 terms in the White House? We knew what he was. He was a Muslim. He was a nasty Muslim from Kenya. I mean, that's why, and this goes into a whole different subject I might get into later, but his grandmother was getting ready to come forward and speak about how he was born in Kenya because she was a she attended his birth in Kenya, and she was going to talk about that. And all of a sudden she wound up dead. Now, really? I mean, if you got a Muslim that'll kill his own family to keep his secrets, something's bad and wrong. And now the revelations come out on Big Mike, his wife. Yeah, Big Mike's social security number come back to somebody totally different. You know, you need to research that. Look into it. Big Mike's social security number is fraudulent. It come back to a totally different person than what she's claiming to be or it's claiming to be. You know, I don't know. I can't wait till O'Dumbo and his tranny wife is out of the White House, and maybe we can get this country back and get it back on its feet and get back in the right gear. Subscribe and like and share these videos. Thank you.